So when it comes to building a career in the VC space, a lot of people reach out to us. I'm sure reach out to you as well, talking about how they're coming from tier 2 institutions or not coming from tier 1 or high pedigree institutions. How can they go about building a career in this space? Is it even possible?
Well, this is a very often asked question. I was doing some calls, about 20 of them, with many people who aspire to join venture capital firms at different stages, entry level, middle level, etc. And there has been this question that, look, I'm not from a so-called tier 1 institute, and therefore is my application rejected because of that? So look, let's be candid, right? The last 10 years of the ecosystem have seen some of the most impressive companies being led by founders who were from tier 1 institutes. Now that creates a bit of a selection bias, which has come about as a result of that. So therefore, venture capital firms, who are looking to network, looking to source founders at the analyst level, associate level, therefore then tend to place a greater degree of weightage if you're from the same network. It is difficult for the tier 1 network to penetrate the tier 2 network, and vice versa as well. So there has been a bit of a selection bias over there. However, is that true going forward? I don't think so. Entrepreneurship, courtesy shows like Shark Tank, has now become democratized all over the country. Earlier, the founders, while coming from tier 1 institutes, also were coming only from tier 1 top 3 or cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, perhaps. But now we are seeing this as a universal phenomenon. You could be, sitting in Pune and you could be a, unicorn founder in the making. You could be in Guwahati and it could be equally true. You could be in Trivandrum, it would be equally true. Because India has changed in the last 10 years. The development of infrastructure, the penetration of mobile phones, the GDP per capita growth, the availability of digital public goods infrastructure, whether it's, your Aadhaar and, the whole JAM Trinity, etc. Everything today has made it possible for you to do your work from anywhere. Right? The concept of work from home means where your home is. You don't have to shift your home. If you have to shift your home, then the concept is not work from home anymore.
Right.
So that has come about. And therefore, I'm seeing that entrepreneurship is on the rise secularly. And the best example of that is when co-working spaces start to happen outside of the top cities.
Yeah.
So I've seen this phenomenon now in multiple cities where I've been to. You are seeing co-working spaces spring up in maybe even a Rajkot in Gujarat, or out in Ghaziabad, for example, and so on and so forth. So this means that venture capital firms will also have to take a look at newer networks. Founders at the early stage may not only be sourced from tier 1 institutes in tier 1 cities, but maybe from a wider bunch of institutes and colleges and beyond the top cities. So I think there is going to be a constant evolution, and that selection bias is going to become a little more wider in scope.
So VCs basically dikhte kya hai? What do VCs typically look for, and specifically what do you look for? So in case someone wants to come and work with Anup Jain, how can they impress you?
Okay, so in terms of employment or in terms of working with you, all right, not as a founder. So look, venture capital is about selection of the founding team, the quality of the founding team, and the market opportunity assessment. This is at the early stage, right? Because there's not too much of data available or profit and loss statements that you can go through. So therefore, when you talk about quality of the founding team, I think tapping all sources, that becomes extremely critical. a person at the analyst or associate level cannot be a social recluse. You have to be an extroverted person. You have to be reaching out to multiple sources, whether it's angels, whether it's, networks, whether it is micro VCs, whether it is, campuses, demo days, multiple sources. You can't just rely on online platform search
Right.
and sit in front of a computer all day and say, hey, I'm going to be able to source the best founders. So you have to make yourself available to events where you form these relationships. You have to have, I used to hold, a cardinal rule, and I still hold it. The more coffees and the more lunches and dinners I have outside of my home, I'm likely to be more successful in the VC space, because then I'm constantly in the space of at least making new relationships, as also meeting the same people all over again without any planned fixed agenda. And it is when you meet people without any planned or fixed agenda is when you actually form relationships, because otherwise one of the two people is trying to buy something, on the other side is going to sell something. So that's a transactional meeting. It's a commercial meeting. The other bit is, look, in terms of market opportunity assessment, this is both, again, a science and an art. And I would leave the art and the intuition to the investment lead, which is partners, etc. But the science should really come in from the person who's talking to me. So if they can open my mind through their analysis to a problem statement and leading to a thesis development in any sector that we are focusing on, that means that is the bedrock for that investment to be made whenever we are able to find the best quality founding team against it. In fact, it's been, I've had outstanding theses over the last 3 years. For example, in the education space, I've not been able to identify the best quality founding team in a space, but I'm incredibly, sort of delighted that I have a thesis. So thesis-based investing, I feel the bedrock of that thesis is something that the person meeting me, if they're able to contribute to that, I will be delighted, and I will chase that person down to have them in my team.
So when it comes to working with VCs, do you think it's required for people to go through a training program? What are the kind of skills that they'll have to develop outside, say, networking, communications, and say a basic understanding of the startup ecosystem?
So I think, programs such as yours, they definitely help in appreciation of what goes on in a VC's life. Internships over here really help. And at the early stage, I would say analytical skills. That's extremely important. Pattern recognition. So what's happening in the macros, what's happening at the micro, where are the bottlenecks, where can technology come in and solve that problem, where are the new businesses going to be made, how is the consumer habits and practices and needs shifting as a result of what all of us have gone through, for example, COVID. So I think a study of all of these things and a really deep study across perhaps the global landscape, that really helps in development of thesis. So even before you come and interview with a VC firm, I think it's very good to perhaps develop a point of view. And that comes through analysis, because that is really appreciated. VCs are supposed to be intellectual powerhouses. So you got to prove your intellect. And the best way to do that is to come with your own thesis and, surprise and impress everyone, out there.
So VCs are hectic. How do you unwind yourself after work?
Well, I unwind myself at every possible opportunity, believe it or not. So my favorite place actually is airports. So
Airports?
Yeah, in any weather. This is the cleanest space you can find. This is air conditioned, right? And they provide you the best environment to sit down, have a cup of coffee. I love my coffees. Open your computer, or just go walking. So I actually don't sit down ever at an airport. I'm constantly walking, because I want to cover my number of kilometers and steps, and this is the best place to do it. Also, you get to feel the buzz, and I like that buzz.
Yeah.
The buzz of an airport gives you enough telltale signs about what's happening, what's important, conversations you pick up, what are people busy with, what are people going from one place to another for. I find airports extremely interesting in terms of study of consumer habits and practices. So I'm an observer, I'm a full observer in an airport, not just here, but anywhere in the world. The other, of course, look, I do mindfulness as a practice. So I've been practicing with different kinds of meditation. It helps to clear the mind, helps you to reset thoughts. I also read and hear different kinds of podcasts and, political debates. Geopolitics interests me. There is so much happening in the world at the moment. It has a direct impact on what's coming, up for all of us in the economy. It helps me in pattern recognition. I also like road travel. So I take off with my family and would love to drive to some place which is 300 kilometers away, where one can, sit down in a nice green environment, chirping with birds and, clean air. So who doesn't want that? And unwind in the company of family and friends is the most valuable. So between, solo fun, meditation, between family and friends and spaces, I think these are things that give me a lot of joy. I think somebody said, motion is emotion. So I like to keep on moving. I don't want to be staying in one place. So travel really excites me, and it teaches me a lot of things. I think I owe a lot of my insights and intuition to a lot of travel that I did during my early parts of my career. In fact, I continue to do it. We're also, both me and my wife, we are very particular that we take a vacation in a tier 2 or a tier 3 city. Once at least in a year, if not twice or more. And that gives us a very different exposure. It tells us how India is, developing, and makes us see life beyond just Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore, and whatever, any top city. So these are help you unwind in so many different ways, eating different kinds of cuisines, stopping by at a dhaba and all of that. It's been part of our growing up years. So I don't want to give that up. It's a part of what being an Indian is all about. One can't be hanging out in branded coffee stores in a shopping mall all the time. Of course, it's nice to do it, but not all the time.
Do you get to visit the North Campus often and just go back to Vaishnav Chaat Bhandar or just try Sudama Chai?
Well, we had our FMS reunion recently, and many of us came from different parts of the world, in fact. And it was great to catch up with everyone. So, we chose the same hotel, then we went to campus, met our professors as well, met the batch, which organized the kind of reunion at the campus, took some pictures. So it was really delightful. We had a lot of stories to, sort of rewind and reshare and share a bit of nostalgia and all of that. So that's always very good. Yeah.
So parting advice for VC fellows?
Well, VC fellows, you've got a great industry, to look forward to. This industry is growing. As GDP per capita increases in the country from the current $2,600 approximately to some $10,000 like we saw in China between 1995 to maybe 2015, I think the golden sort of 10 to 15 years of India are right ahead of us if all goes well. And this means that there will be generation of wealth. And it means that we will need more people who can manage that wealth.
Right.
So there will be a secular increase like we have seen in many developed economies around the world, whether it's UK or US or Singapore, Hong Kong, etc., Japan. There will be need for more and more professionals in the fund management space, which can help manage wealth that is being generated across a larger number of people that we saw in the last 10 years. So I hope that day comes in sooner rather than later. And certainly the VC fellows are heading in the right direction to acquire the skills to be able to invest in businesses, entrepreneurs, and manage wealth for their clients.
So thank you so much, Anup, for taking out time for this. I think it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been asking my team to make notes so that I can go through them again after the podcast.
Yeah.
But looking forward to see you over here again. And thank you so much again for everything that you shared with us today.
No, thanks, Shawrya. I wish the cohort of VC fellows all the best, and hope to participate in more and more sessions like these to add value to their careers. And look forward to my next time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.